Hey guys, it's Tanya Target Camacho here, and I'm here with
Michelle Lang.
I'm so excited to have you join us. Of course, today we're going to be talking about how to double your webinar butts and seats with a video drip campaign. And we have our resident in-house video guru that I'm very excited to be interviewing. So if you can hear us, if you can see us, just come into the chat and say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from today. And Michelle, I'm going to dive straight in, and I'm actually going to ask a question that I think sometimes people are a little too scared to ask. Because the first time I heard video indoctrination sequence, I thought to myself, that sounds like something I should know what it is, but I don't know if I know what it is, and I don't want to ask what it is. So can you just explain what the heck is a video indoctrination sequence first off?
Sure, definitely. It's usually like a 3-part video campaign, and it's designed to get people really excited about your webinar. So the word indoctrination is usually teaching, getting them excited, inducting them. And that's exactly what happens in this sequence. There's certain key content that gets covered in each video, and it's really designed to boost the webinar attendance by getting them excited.
Awesome. So you said it has particular content in that sequencing. What kind of content are you talking about, and what goes where?
Yeah, great question. So there's different options for what you can focus on within the indoctrination sequence, but my favorite combination of content is in the first video, really just giving an overview of what the webinar is going to cover. So for example, Tanya, the webinar we were doing has 3 secrets. So I might give an overview of what those 3 secrets are, why it's important for them to be there, and what they'll actually walk away with. You also want to be able to emphasize the benefits of attending live. So for example, in our webinar, we stayed on for Q&A afterwards. That's a great value because they can pick our brains about anything. So just the whole goal of indoctrination is, first choice, get them on there live. Second choice, get them to watch the replay. And indoctrination sequence will help with still getting them to watch the replay. And then so that's the first video. Yeah.
Oh, the first video. Did you want to?
Yeah, there's 2 others. Yeah. So the second video, what I like to do, I recommend whenever you do a webinar, offering a bonus for people that stay till the end of the training. Now, notice I said the word training because the average length of time that anyone will stay on a webinar, according to market research, is 1 hour. And so often what you'll see on webinars is the training lasts about an hour, for some people 90 minutes. And then the people that are giving the training will pivot to an offer when there is an offer, and then stay on for Q&A. And so you want people to be able to stay on till the end of your offer. And so what often, so actually let me reframe this. When you do, there is a way to do an offer where it's kind of part of the training. So for example, you could say, you know, there's, instead of talking about the 8 modules of your course, you could say, you know, there's 8 key steps in order to really be able to execute on this well. Would you mind if I shared a program coming up where we have those 8 steps? So you do want to indicate that you want people to stay till the end of the offer. So let me backtrack. I wouldn't use the word training. I would say if you stay till the end before we start Q&A, you will get this bonus. And the bonus needs to be very, very enticing. So I know for our webinar, our bonus was the double your butts and seats email templates, right? That have helped you fill.
Yeah, which I'd never shared before, apart from
never shared before, right? It needs to be something they can't get anywhere else. Something that's really worth staying on for. And there's a way, like we use Zoom webinar, you can generate an attendance report and really see who did stay all the way up to Q&A. I like to give people the option to hop off by the time of Q&A because people have busy schedules. That's really for the benefit of people that have questions. But the second video will talk about the bonus and the value of the bonus that they would get if they stayed. Now, if for any reason you're not doing a bonus, you can do the second video on client success stories. We do our third video usually on, it's interchangeable. You can do the second or the third on client success stories. That usually comprises your third video. But if you're not doing a bonus, you can break up those client success stories over 2 videos and do one in one video and the other in the other video. The key when you do the video on the client success stories is to be sure to tie it into what you'll be teaching in the webinar. So for example, if Angela made $480,000 from a brand message video we created for her, I want to be able to tie that in to how on secret number 2, we're going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to create your very own brand message video.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's the same with any kind of online program or freebie or opt-in. Just because someone signs up for a webinar doesn't mean they're going to turn up on the webinar. Just like if you had a lead magnet out there and someone opted in, just because they sign up for it doesn't mean that they're going to go and even open it. So this is about trying to make sure and consolidate the efforts that you have taken are going to prove as fruitful as possible. And I love how you talk about in the second video having that enticement, but it's really a bribe to why you need to be on there, why an ethical bribe, why you need to stay to the end. And quite often, and correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes that bonus for staying to the end can be worth even more to some people than the webinar itself. Like the value, the perception of value can be incredibly high.
Yeah, absolutely. So it shouldn't just be like a free guide. It should be some piece of content that's really going to get them a result. Like, if you're a marketer, giving them templates for an email campaign, or giving them, your winning formula for a high opt-in page for a lead magnet, or your winning formula for creating a lead magnet that people consume that leads to a strategy call. And so one thing I just want to mention is that I mentioned that the average attendee rate is about 30%. Now, by marketing industry standards, it's 44%. But in the entrepreneurial world, what we often see is 30%. Then another 15 to 20% will attend the replay. But if you're using this in video...
Oh, Michelle's just there. Michelle, I'm not sure if you froze for everyone. You said the last bit I caught was 44% is industry standards, but in the entrepreneurial rate, it's about 30%.
Yeah, most people find it's about 30% of people that will actually attend live, and another 15 to 20% will watch the replay. And so if you're using video, it's an interest. You could do a split test where in 1 week you don't use a video indoctrination sequence, in another week you do. See if that percentage goes up, because I would expect that it would. And you'll notice, like Russell Brunson, one of the biggest gurus of webinar marketing, he'll often use indoctrination videos to get people on there.
Awesome. Now, these videos, how long should they be? How long is a piece of string, but how long should they be?
Yeah, I think in some way, those videos are going out to a warm audience. They've already raised their hand and said, I'm interested in this topic, but I would try to ballpark it around 3 minutes. There have been some cases where I've gone up to 4, but I do try to get them down to 3 minutes whenever possible, because marketing studies show that with a warm audience, that's, they start trailing off after the 3-minute mark.
So scripting?
Yeah, I think these are important to script unless you're just a maverick of speaking off an outline. But I think in the case of, for any marketing video, I always recommend scripting it because you want it to be tight, you want it to be concise, and every word counts. You've got a very short amount of time to make your point. And if your copy is nuanced, where you're doing seeding, you're doing certain positioning and credibility statements, you want to make sure that you're saying the right thing in the right order.
Because at any second they could bounce, right? So every word counts.
Every word counts, and sequencing counts.
And then, so you've got these videos, you've got your 3 videos, you've got, why they need to get on it. You might have some kind of ethical bribe and some testimonials. And then, 3 minutes on average, do script them unless you're a maverick. I love that word. We've probably got a lot of mavericks watching. How do you then get them out? What's the best way? And can you recycle these videos as well?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so one point that I want to just make, because people can interpret words differently. When you do the client success story, you really want to tell it as a story, right? So this is different than kind of showing up on a slide somebody's text where they wrote about how great you are and a result they got. Although that could be a moment within it, you want to make sure you're really storytelling. And so in the crafting of that client success story, you want to talk about, where was that client at the beginning of their journey? What was there before? What was their need or goal or desire that sent them on the journey to seek your services to begin with. And most importantly, given their goal or desire, what major wall or obstacle were they hitting? So for those of you who've been on our Hero's Journey story training, you might notice that there's a lot of parallels in the hero's journey story and the client success story. And these beats can be hit very, very quickly within a 3-minute video. So what was their wall? What was their challenge? What caused them to seek your services? And then how did you work with them strategically, right? Like literally what strategies did you apply to get them to their after? And the after is the transformation. So you want to make sure you cover where were they after working with you? And you want to cover, especially if you're a marketing or business coach, not just the financial results, but what did it do for them internally as well? Did it give them new confidence? Did it lead to a ripple effect where they started showing up differently in other aspects of their business? Did it improve their lifestyle? So you want to, I mean, quantitative data like numbers, she made 480,000 off a single video is great, but whenever possible, you also want to give the qualitative, qualitative, how it increased the quality of her life. So I just wanted to clarify that. Now it's okay to, if you're going to pre-record all this, to cut up to a testimonial slide with a quote from them, but you are the storyteller of this. And again, just remember, you've got to tie it into the webinar. So, you know, if you want me to walk you through the exact strategy we used with Angela to get her to that 480K off a single video, make sure you're on the webinar, because in secret number 2, I'm going to share exactly how we did that.
But this is, you know, when I listen to you, and I love the emphasis on storytelling, I'm so pleased that you did clarify that. And I'm listening to all the elements, and both of us are, you know, script writers and professional storytellers. And I know that as entrepreneurs, you know, we wear many hats and we do all these different things. But when I'm listening to all these elements, and I've seen some of the scripts that you share with your clients, you share with your students, there is a formula to this, isn't it?
There is a formula.
And just like when, you know, your clients come, you know, for those of you who are joining us live and then watching the replay later, just like you have a formula for how you get your clients transformation and success, and that they have to learn that formula to get that transformation success. That storytelling and that indoctrination sequence is a formula. And I think sometimes, you know, as entrepreneurs, we just go, oh, well, I can write this, I can write a blog post, or I can write a company proposal, I can just write this. Well, you can when you have that formula. And I think what happens sometimes, and I see this myself, is that people do go and do it, or they may have tried indoctrination sequence, felt they hit the marks, but weren't following a formula that they had actually learned, but felt that they could do it by maybe reverse engineering or modeling someone else. And then their videos don't convert. And then they think that video doesn't convert, when that's not the case. It's just that they weren't following a formula. Have you found that to be the case, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, one big reason people come to us is they've sort of done a lot of sort of kangarooing, in that they like watch and they try to, oh, he hippity hops, I'm going to hippity hop, but they may not, the devil's in the details, right? They don't know what they don't know. So sometimes imitation, unless you understand the reason that marketer's doing each thing at each moment, when you then try to integrate it and apply it to your own brand, it may or may not translate. And so, so I think that, I think what happens also is that it's really, doing your own messaging is like cutting your own hair. So sometimes you're so close to it. And I find even copywriters, I'll work with award-winning copywriters sometimes on their copy because they're too close to it. In fact, one of my clients who's an award-winning copywriter, she said to me, we were doing a video for her live event. She said, I'll write the voiceover, don't worry about it. And then she wrote me and she's like, I'm on my 30th draft, can you take over? So yeah, I think that even with the formula, it's all in the execution. So then when you go to talk about your brand and your secrets and your client story, the question becomes, did you execute it on it in the right way? And that just becomes about the messaging.
And it is very simple when you know how. When you're trying to sort of navigate and go through this on your own, it can seem like, you know, where the heck do you start? But like anything, you know, when you first learn to ride a bike, you you can't ride a bike. When you first learn to walk as a baby, we don't get up when we run, but as entrepreneurs, we tend to be very tough on ourselves, and we want to just nail it that first time before we actually learn how to do it. But when you talk about execution, tell me about the execution of these videos. Like, where do they go? Are they just for the people who register for the webinar, or what do you do with those videos?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's two things that I like to do with those videos. I first film a version 1, and those are going to drip out to the list once people have registered for the webinar. So those go to the webinar registrants. And then I like to film a version 2 that has an alternative ending. So version 2 assumes that they are not they're not registered yet. So the opening and the closing are different, because the opening for registrants would say, thanks so much for registering for how to triple your audience and close more sales with video, free training that we're doing on Thursday. And it would close with, so be sure to mark your calendar Thursday at 1 p.m. We'll see you there, on the live training. Notice I didn't say a date. You do want to be able to repurpose these. And usually when people are doing a webinar launch, they're running that webinar for about 4 weeks in a row. It gives them an opportunity to reach more audiences, to refine it, to see what's working and tweak and revise. You don't ever want to do a webinar launch as a one-shot deal. That's one of the big advantages of a webinar launch. You have a lot of room to course correct, see where people are dropping off, improve those areas. Where I was going with this is, sorry, let me just loop back. You were asking, forgive me.
Where do they go? Do they just go to people who've registered?
Yeah, okay, so the ones, the people who registered will get them through your list. They'll drip out by email and in sequence. So what I like to do is start indoctrination 1, probably about 3 days before the webinar. So if the webinar is on a Thursday, I would drip out indoctrination 1 on Monday or Tuesday. The reason I wait till then is the majority of webinar registrants come in the week of, and often about 48 hours before. Even marketing studies have shown that. Even when big companies like Forrester are promoting webinars for 2 weeks, the majority come the week of. And so if you drip indoctrination out on a Monday, most people are going to miss it. If you do it on a Tuesday, so you would do it like a Tuesday, and then video number 2 on a Wednesday, and video number 3 the day of.
And then
so those would go to your list.
To your list.
And the version 2 for social media is really for social media. Perfect. Or to your non-registrant list. And in version 2, that's where you're going to open with telling them about that this webinar is coming. The body of the video stays the same, and the call to action is to go and register and to share the link with them. And those can go out to your main list that haven't registered yet and on social media.
Sorry, well, I lost you a little bit. I'm hoping that was my connection, my end. And I know, like, we scripted our videos and filmed our videos, and what I loved about it was that we had we just sort of had the body, and then we would go, okay, and this was a message for the video editor. This is for, Facebook, or this is for social media, or this is for Instagram. And we would just have a different last sentence. So it might sound like a whole heap of stuff, but it's actually really easy to deploy when you have those scripts and you know what to do. And then, Michelle, just finishing up before we go into Q&A, what about after the webinar? Are there more videos that you can be sending out to maximize the effort that you've taken to get extra people on the webinar, to get those who have registered to turn up? Is there something that we should all be doing afterwards?
Yeah, great question. So by the way, I'm a big believer in batch shooting. So when you shoot these videos, you want to do them all in a single day or afternoon so that you don't have to do hair, makeup, lights, camera, all that more than once. And when you're already shooting the 3 indoctrination videos, I recommend shooting a replay video. So the replay video is to get them excited about watching the replay. Especially, there's certain key phrases you want to include in there. For example, you want to put a time limiter on how long they can watch the replay. So maybe you say the replay is only up for the next 5 days, so be sure to watch it soon before it comes down. You might recap the secrets you shared and the value. Well, it's too late for them to get the bonus. So recap the secrets you shared. You might even recap in that a few of, just real quick, like as 1 or 2 liners, a few of the client success stories that you share in the webinar. And remember, tie it in that they're going to learn the exact same strategies you used with those clients to get them results. And then call to action, of course, to watch the replay.
And I think also with that bonus, when you're saying to people that, you know, stay to the end, stay till the Q&A, and you're going to get this live train, you're going to get that bonus. I think it's really important to be a person of your word, isn't it? To stand in that integrity, not just send it to everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like for ours, it was like our cutoff was 90 minutes. And if you were on for like 80 minutes, you didn't get it. I mean, because, and that's a mistake I think a lot of people make. They do send the bonus to everyone. I've had people say to me, oh, I wasn't on so-and-so's webinar, but I got the bonus. Yeah, you just lost your credibility there. I mean, I'm sure they're happy to get the bonus, but the next time you say that on their next webinar, they won't believe you and they'll hop off early. So you really do want to be sure you honor that, and the people on the replay are not going to get that bonus. The other, do you want to know what the extra credit videos would be if you're going to film that replay? Again, with everything in marketing, there's good, better, and best, right? So don't feel you have to do all of these, but for the video rock stars out there who are super ambitious, while you've got the camera out, if you've made an offer during the webinar, your extra credit would be to film a 3-part sequence that you drip out after the webinar to get them to buy the offer. Now, remember, a lot of people probably may have hopped off before they even heard the offer. So you can talk, you can kind of follow a very similar formula where you give an overview in the first video of what that offer is about. In the second video, you can focus on a client success story or two and tie it into how they were using the very strategies you're teaching in the program. And then your third video can be about any fast action bonuses that you have if they sign up soon, and any urgency and scarcity they need to know about in order to act now.
And I think that's where it's really important, standing by your word of the freebie for staying to the end, because if you don't stand by your word there, then you might not stand by your word, and that the fast action bonus is just for those who take fast action. So just that one little trying to help everybody and not standing in the integrity of your word can really ripple across right the way throughout your entire offer and your sales funnel and your sales process.
Yeah, definitely. If you say, I'm going to get the bonus, like on the webinar, if you say the bonuses will hit your inbox in the next 24 hours, you've got to send that within 24 hours, even if it's 7 o'clock on a Friday night, you got to get it out.
Yeah. And I just want to say hello to Michael and Deborah, and Rusty had a really great comment here too, saying his comment was saying the right thing in the right order and at the right time is the key. You're so totally up there, Rusty.
Rusty's an amazing copywriter. So if anybody would know, it's him. He's one of the best I've seen.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Phenomenal. Now, Michelle, just to wrap.
Oops, I think you're freezing, hon. Let me see if I can close some.
Or do we need to hire someone else to do it for us?
Wait, I'm sorry, hon. You cut out. So can you say that again?
Is it best to do these videos ourselves, or should we get a professional in to help us with them?
Okay, so my answer to that is whatever's going to allow you to get it done. And I'm going to share a funny story about that. Tanya and I had filmed our own indoctrination videos for our webinar DIY. And then we had a conversation and we're like, you know what? If I'm a video professional, Tanya, shouldn't I be doing these pro? Like, shouldn't I be modeling, my brand that way? And so we decided to do them pro. But because of family and other conflicts, we had to reschedule the shoot. And so then they didn't get done in time for our webinar. And it was a great lesson that like version done is better than version none. And so we may do some encore webinars in a couple of weeks, and we determine like, okay, we're doing them DIY this time. We just have to get them done. And so whatever's going to allow you to get them done. But the key is, if you are going to do them DIY, just make sure that you know proper framing, that you have good light on you, and that you have good sound. Because if you don't, it's just going to be very distracting.
Awesome. And we're just about ready to take some questions, but I'm wanting, Michelle, I know there's going to be some people here who are watching this. They might be wanting some help. They might have a webinar that's coming up. They might have a speaking engagement, a live event, and they want to get more people in the room. Do you have something special that you can be offering those people?
Well, we do. Guess what? We're doing a reprise webinar not next week, but the following. And if you're on that webinar and you stay till the end, I will give you my indoctrination scripting templates and the samples of the scripts that Tanya and I wrote for our own webinars. So you can get that. And we'll be sure to announce it in the group. Our tentative date right now is October 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, but we will confirm that with you guys in advance. And then also really cool, Tanya and I have a really cool program coming up. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
We do. We have, it's called Visible Impact Immersion, and it's to take you from where you are right now. So if you haven't started speaking, or you are speaking but you want to improve your conversions, we're going to give you everything you need to do just that. And of course, if you haven't started playing with video, or you're inconsistent with video, or perhaps you are making videos but they are also not getting you the conversions that you want, we also are going to be covering off in the program. We have 2 live intensives where you can come with nothing and walk away with your 6-figure signature talk, high converting, know how, where and when to get pitched, and also your video strategy so that you can be booking strategy calls, sales calls, indoctrination sequences, you name it. So we have that coming up. We're kicking off at the end of October, early November, and we do have some spots available in there. And then of course, for those of you who would like to have a chat to us privately on that, to get a little bit more information about exactly what we are covering, if you're someone who likes all those details, or perhaps you even want to talk about, working more closely with Michelle and I, we would love to invite you to come through to a breakthrough call with us. And now there is an application process for that. For those of you who have worked with me before, you would know that my breakthrough calls I do sell for $497, and I have sold those around the world. So because we are giving these away, and you're getting Michelle and I, each of us selling these calls for $497, you're getting close to $1,000 of time with Michelle and I. Therefore, there is an application process. So if that is you, Michelle, if you're going to pop that in, that would be amazing. Jump up and down, shout and scream why we should pick you, how important your message is, why you are so passionate about what you do, and why we need to, give you that time so that we can, give some guidance and have a look at what you're doing in the world and provide some suggestions on the best way to move that forward. Because this just dawned on me. There are 3 months left, not just in this year, but in this decade.
Okay, that's crazy.
In this decade. So my question would be, what are you doing to close the year strong? And now is the time to take some risks, not to rest on our laurels. I know Michelle and I, we are going strong, strong, strong right the way through. So I'd love to extend that invitation to you guys so you can close the year strong and set up 2020 with your videos, with your speaking, and have your strategy laid out. So you come January 1, you're already booked, you've already got your videos, and you're ready to go. Yeah, and with the 8-week program, I just want to share the Visible Impact Immersion. There's actually 3 tracks you can do because it's pretty much 6 training modules and then a 2.5-day virtual intensive all about the video piece, and a 2.5-day virtual intensive all about the speaking piece. We believe that to build a really robust business, you really need both, because video is great for audience building and visibility and selling digital products and online courses, but speaking is amazing for selling high tier offers. As even when you can't speak to sell, being able to speak and then line up strategy calls and sell them into high tickets. So we believe you really need both, but within the program, you can go down just the video track, just the speaking track, or be a dynamo and do both. So just wanted to mention that. Yeah. Beautifully put. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so Michelle, if you put that in the chat, and I'm just looking at the comments at the moment, I'm going to refresh and see if we have any questions. Are you using indoctrination videos at the moment? And if you are, how are they working for you? Are they converting for you? Have you got some questions? I mean, you have, my decision to collaborate with Michelle didn't come lightly. I don't refer people very often because whoever you refer to is a reflection on you as well. And I have no hesitation referring and collaborating with Michelle because she really is a genius at video, scripting, copywriting, you name it. So I would encourage you guys, while you have her here, to really pick her brains. And while we're waiting for some questions to come in, Michelle, what is your favorite video indoctrination sequence you may have seen someone do? What was the thing that stood out in your mind that you thought, wow, that is just pure genius?
So by the way, I just want to say I'm going to need to pop the link in after, because if I do it now, my Facebook will open, the audio will go off and you'll hear my intro.
Yes.
So I'll be doing that at the end. I really love Liz Benny. I think she is such a good marketer. You know, one thing she does really well is high energy. So it was so interesting because when I first started working with Tanya and I would do these webinars or trainings with her, I would get so in my teaching mode, and she's like, you need energy, you need energy. And when I watch Liz, I think she does that so well. She's amazing at getting you excited to get on her webinar. It's just incredible. And so her content is really solid. Her delivery, though, is awesome. And she doesn't always do it. She's only used the indoctrination videos for certain webinars she's done. But if you can ever catch one of hers where she's using them, it is awesome just to watch. Fast, excited, great content, just on the ball. And she also does one to get you to watch the replay.
Now, I'm being cheeky, but I am, you know, my background is a journalist, so I ask the questions that often people don't ask. I don't want you to name names here, but what is the worst video indoctrination sequence have you seen? Like, I knew you wouldn't like that question. Is there something, though, that stood out in your mind? Because you can learn something from everyone. Was there a video indoctrination sequence that you perhaps saw where you thought, oh, that just didn't land, or oh, I'm not sure how people are going to receive that when they get it?
Not really, because here's the beauty. Not many people are doing this. I've seen 3 marketers actually deploy this strategy. I'm sure there's more, but most people don't. And that's actually going to really make you stand out.
Yeah.
There was one client of mine who executed on them, did it DIY. I think she even filmed hers on Zoom. And the only thing I would have told her to do a little bit differently was they were a bit too long. They were 5 minutes, but I still thought they were great. And they really gave me a beautiful sense of her. And I loved her whole attitude going in, because she said to me, you know, I know these aren't perfect, but I just want to get them done. And that was great. So my only note to her would have been to go a little shorter, but really Russell Brunson and Liz Benny have been the 3 people I've seen actually deploy them. A lot of people don't.
What about the copy that goes with these indoctrination videos? What about for people, because there are people who like to watch videos. There are some people who can't watch it because they open it in an environment where they can't consume it, and there could be the risk that they're not going to come back to it. How much copy should you have to go out with the videos when you're sending them? Should you include a little bit of the script of the video? Should you just include some of the highlights? What's your expert thoughts on that?
I think less copy. I really do, because you want to get them to watch the video. And I understand that some people won't, but the majority of people like video. And so I still think even if you're going to weed out the readers, you know, you could always resend to those who didn't open the first email a text version of it. But I would be a fan, because, you know, like with Active Campaign, they have an option where you can resend that email to those who didn't open. So you could try that. But I just really, you know, I'm a big believer in like pick one route and do it full out and see how it plays. So what I recommend is just some short lead-in copy where you tease the video. So, hey, in this video, I give you, you know, I share the 3 secrets that we're going to be covering. I encourage you to watch it now. You know, try to tie in a few hooks to get them to watch the video. And then if you're worried about them not being able to watch it out loud, you could always edit it with subtitles. You know, you could use a website like rev.com, generate a closed caption file. You want to choose SRT file when you do that, get it off to an editor and have them layer in the subtitles. I
got to admit, the first time that you taught me how to do that, and I had my first video, you know, and I work professionally with video. I've worked professionally with cameras. You know, I've done on-camera corporate reporting, and, you know, I'm a journalist and I've worked in this space for a long time, but I'd never captioned. And I just have to say, when you showed me how to do that, I felt like such a rock star. I just thought, this is so cool. My videos now have subtitles. And it was so easy to do. And I was walking around high-fiving myself, and I was saying to my husband, I said, oh my God, I just with subtitles on my video. I was like super excited. So you've got to
That's
celebrate
awesome.
your small wins, don't you? Now, Patricia just asked a question. She said the hardest thing to do is less copy. And that is definitely a truth amongst copywriters, is it's hard to keep it simple and short. What's your solution to that, Michelle?
Funny enough, is have somebody else look at it that you trust, because they're going to be a lot more objective in where you can cut, because they're not as attached to the message. The other thing is, a lot of times when we go back over our copy, there's a shorter way to say the exact same thing. So one of the things I like to do is I like to let my copy go cold, which means I put it down for a day or two, and then I go back to it through fresh eyes. The other thing you can do that might be really helpful before you record the video on camera is to actually read it out loud into like your iPhone audio recorder or whatever recorder's on your smartphone, and then play it back. Because often when you listen back to it, that's when you can objectively hear where you're going into too much detail and almost where the energy is starting to lag because you're going too long. So you can pick things up by hearing it and having a kinesthetic experience of the words that you wouldn't necessarily get just reading it. And so that can really help you.
Awesome. So there you have it, guys. We've got 3 videos, about 3 minutes long, covering off why they should be on there, perhaps some client success stories, and of course, some kind of ethical bribe to get them on the webinar and to stay at the end of the webinar, and then some indoctrination videos, some reminder videos afterwards, because do you know the percentage, Michelle, of people who do purchase watching the replay? I think you do from memory.
Yeah, 15 to 20% will
15
usually
to 20%.
watch
That's
the
right.
replay.
Yeah.
That's significant. I mean, that's definitely worth doing a mini campaign to get them on at the replay. And remember, put a time limiter on that replay if you can, if it makes sense. I mean, here's the thing. If you know that your cart is going to stay open for a couple of weeks, then it's sort of a choice point, because even if they watch it, in 2 weeks, you're going to benefit if your enrollment is still open. But you always want to put a limiter on how long that replay will be up for them to watch when you can.
I guess the biggest takeaway is that this is a blue ocean, isn't it? Meaning not many people are doing it. So there's a huge opportunity here for those of us, those of you that do choose to go and do indoctrination videos. Not everyone's doing it yet, but that will soon become the norm. And then when it does become the norm, there is that risk of getting lost amongst the noise. So this is a real opportunity for unique positioning.
That's a really good point, Tanya. I like that. And look, it might be a little bit different for those who are steeped in Russell Brunson's community, because he's the one that I saw was the first to do it. But within the communities I'm in, I rarely ever see it.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I've only ever received indoctrination videos from Russell Brunson. I sign up to webinars quite a lot, quite often, because I'm a constant student. But I can't think of any indoctrination videos I've received other than Russell's. And I don't always watch them, but he catches my eye in the layout of it. And even if I don't have time to watch it, I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I've got to get on that webinar.
Right. It's a good visual reminder. And it's always sort of impressive that he took the time to do that.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's like,
Well, are there any other questions, guys? Because just mindful of everybody's time, we have a few comments here. Of course, if you have a question later and you're watching the replay, please do put it into the comments, and Michelle is going to come back and answer those questions for you. Feel free to ask whatever you like around those indoctrination sequencing. And then, of course, I didn't know this, but Michelle is going to be...
she cut out, or my audio.
So if you do come and join us in a couple of weeks, we will let you know when we are running our next free online training. We're going to have multiple freebies and gifts for you just for staying up, participating, playing full out, and staying till the end. And you heard it. It's not for 80 minutes. If it's for 90 minutes, you'll have to stay the full route. But of course, I have seen your scripts and your templates. They are incredible. So that is such a generous gift. That really is quite incredible. So guys, we'll leave it at that for now. Unless, Michelle, did you have something else that you would like to share before we finish up?
No, we covered all that.
That was totally awesome. You know, I just, you are such a vault of information on this. And I just want to, thank you so much for sharing your expertise to help all of us really go and crush it on camera, crush it on video, so that we can get our passion and our mission out there into the world, because everyone is saying it, guys. video is where it is at. Video has the biggest impact. Video can supplement absolutely everything you are doing, no matter what you are doing. And of course, Michelle and I have come together because we do believe the magic formula is speaking and video both fit into each other. So, you know, if you would like to talk to us about that, whether you'd like to talk to us about our 8-week program, as Michelle mentioned, with the 6 modules, and we have 2 VIP intensives. So you've got 3 tracks you can do. You can come and do the whole thing. You can come and just get your signature talk. You can come and crush it on video and get your video strategy to take away and deploy with all your indoctrination videos, your call to strategy call. We're going to pop an invitation in there to come through to a breakthrough call. Michelle, we're also going to put, I should have asked you this, but we're also going to put a link to the program as well, or just the
we'll circle back on that tonight, because there's a few things that I want to tweak behind the scenes.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much. Michelle, thank you for those of us who are joining live. Thank you for those of you who are watching the replay later. Come and invite your friends into this group to get some real live training, and we're going to run another survey to find out what you would like next. And of course, if there's an opportunity for laser coaching session, live laser coaching with either Michelle, myself, or both, we are totally down for it. So have an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.